Hello, welcome to the Joy of Paintball. I'm Clint Riddle, and today it's just me. Just me. That's all we're doing. I'm gonna do a little World Cup recap and let y'all know how it went. Thank you, all my patrons who have supported me on Patreon. I just want to announce that I'm putting a little pause to that so I can revamp it and make it make more sense for everyone. But yeah, I'll still be doing this, and I'm still super grateful for everyone who helped out, and thank you for the support. It really does mean a lot just to know that people were willing not only to follow or to comment, but also to financially contribute. It was incredible, so thank you so much for that. All right, I'm gonna try to walk through my whole World Cup experience and just sort of share my point of view with everyone and some insights that came from it. And so several months back, I interviewed another artist named Sunshine Hurlbert, and kind of like had the idea to do an art show at one of these events, and World Cup seemed to be the most obvious.
I would love to eventually put it all together and have a show of all of it together in one space. But I haven't quite figured out the logistics of that quite yet.
No, let's do it. World Cup, let's do it. I'm calling it right now. Let's have, I'm not joking. Like, let's do it. We'll organize, paintball artists. I don't know, we could find a space somewhere, or even like, maybe we could talk the Hormesis guys into like, hey,
that would be extremely cool.
One of these nights, can we put our stuff on display and have an opening?
That would be super cool.
And that would speak to us so much because it's our community, and I think they would love it.
That actually feels possible.
There was a few other artists initially involved, but schedules happen, work happens, and not everyone can make it. So it ended up being Sunshine and me. And we approached Alex and Oliver and Miko about having a space at the Hormesis tent, and they were like, yeah dude, let's do that, sounds great. So it happened. So we planned getting our artwork ready and packing all that up, and World Cup came around, and that's kind of not when my journey started, but that's where I'm starting this journey. Getting the rental car, that was fun, I guess. I don't know if you've had to deal with it, then you guys know it's just kind of, I don't know, a little nerve-wracking. But I got that, and then I packed all the stuff up. I was preparing artwork and making sure I had a good representation of me for everything. And I was kind of surprised. I was on the phone with Miko before the event, and was like, hey, sweet, so glad we get to do this. When's set up? When do I need to be ready? And when I had planned this earlier, the 3-man wasn't really taking off. That wasn't adding to the schedule that much, but at this point, 3-man was now like part of the agenda, and they're like, spectators are showing up to watch 3-man, and so that bumped everything forward a whole nother day. And I was on the phone with Miko and said, hey man, when's set up? When do I need to be there? He's like, what, Tuesday set up? And I was like, Tuesday, cool. So I was planning like maybe leaving Tuesday evening and getting there Wednesday, so I'm not taking too much time off work. But it was like, if I need to be there Tuesday, I gotta take a whole week off. And so I had the days. It worked out. But man, I was packing up everything, and I don't like this. I'm very much a family guy. Not that anyone in paintball isn't, but this is, for me, the first time I've been away from my family for this long. And it started to get to me. Like, I kind of broke down when I was leaving. I was saying goodbye to my wife. Monday morning, I dropped the kids off at school, got the truck all packed up, and was heading out. I was about to head out and saying bye to my wife, and I couldn't hold it together, man. I just like it all kind of like hit me like I'm not gonna see these people that I love and that I've been around their entire lives, my kids their entire lives, and with my wife the past 14 years. Like, haven't been away from them this long ever, and that really hit me. And I was like this close to just like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'll just stay home. Like, I almost didn't go, but thankfully, like my wife was like, "Don't be ridiculous." Like, she was kind of the strong one throughout all of this, as per usual. That's why I married her. But you know, I get past that and get on the road. I knew once I got on the road, things would kind of get better, and I'd start looking forward to the event and not just like at what I'm gonna be missing. So anyway, I drive down from Dallas to Kissimmee, Florida. So I drive almost straight through. I get probably like 4 hours away, and I was doing the math and was like, if I drive straight through, I'm gonna get to the field at like 4 a.m. and no one's gonna be there, and that's gonna be ridiculous. So let me find somewhere to stop and sleep. And I had planned my kind of go-to plan anytime I know that I'm gonna be driving through the night, and if I need to sleep somewhere and I don't want to get a hotel, is I just find a hotel parking lot because they're well lit and usually there's cameras, and I just kind of sleep in the parking lot there. But I didn't know this about Florida. When I was getting closer to Florida, I drove past several like rest stops, and they're, I mean, beautiful. So those of you that are like road tripping, if the rest stops in Florida like claim they have armed security, I don't know about that, but there's a sign, so that's kind of helpful. But it's also like very well lit, very clean, and very like safe feeling. So some go Florida. They got that going for them. The rest stops are great. Um, so anyway, I stop there and sleep, and then wake up and drive to the field and start setting up. Like Tuesday was the day, so I left Monday, got there Tuesday morning, and got my McGriddle and coffee and was ready for the day. So uh, I go and set stuff up, or I go to the Hormesis booth. I check in with Miko, and which is bizarre to say, like check in with Miko, like this dude that I watched play. Like, all the Hormesis guys are like legends, and so I check in. I'm like, hey man, I'm here. I gotta let my drill battery charge a little bit, so my hands are free. If whatever you need help with, let me know. And he's got 1,000 things going through his brain, so he's kind of like, yeah. You're like, what? Well, I'll let you know. I was like, all right. And so time kind of goes by, and I see Oliver Lang setting up a field for the 1v1 booth, or the 1v1 event that he was doing. And he's digging through bunkers, and I'm like, hey man, I got free hands if you need help with anything. And so that morning, I this is kind of a weird sentence to say. There were a lot of weird sentences to say over this weekend, but that morning I helped Oliver Lang set up a field. Like blowing up bunkers and staking them down, and like figuring out what the best layout was. Like, that's, I don't know, something I didn't have on my checklist, but I'm definitely checking it off. That was super cool. So I do that, and then Sunshine like gets there, and so we're setting up the booth, and everything's good. And then I go to the media house that I was staying at with just a group of people that thankfully took me in. They extended an invite for me to crash with them for the event. And I got there, ate a little bit, and just slept. And man, sleeping on a bed is much better than sleeping in your car. Just saying that. Anyway, so the event hadn't officially started. So I wake up, it's Wednesday, get to the event early, and get all my artwork up. I had to put it up and take it down every day because the humidity or the condensation would mess with it. But get there and get the booth set up, and it's early morning. I'm just able to like soak it all in. I'm walking around, the venue and running into folks, and that was, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was a lot of that. Um, just sort of like running into people that I hadn't seen in years, and saying hey. And, I ran into the FTS guys and said hey to Brando and Hatch and got to meet the new guy, Caden, I believe. And that was, that was great. I sat down and talked with him for a little bit. And just how close do I yeah, I met up with a guy who I met in Texas at NXL. His name's Kendrick, and he was running the Gen X Global booth, pushing their new gear bag. That was pretty nuts. But, just great conversation with him, and great conversations throughout the whole weekend. I had a great conversation with Chris Lasoya, with Nikki Cuba, like these big names, but also with people that I, otherwise wouldn't know, like Brandon from Miami Effect. Great conversation with him. I met a really cool dude, Austin from X Zone, which is a field. Oh gosh, I think it's in. He said Richmond, Virginia. I might be wrong about that, but X Zone. Hang on. I want to make sure I got this right. X Zone Paintball Park. Where's it? Yeah, Richmond, Virginia. There we go. So anyone in that area, go check it out. This Austin was such a delight. Really nice guy. You could tell he just loved paintball and loved creating a good experience for people in the sport. So super like passionate about his field and making sure everyone enjoyed it. And smile from ear to ear, and his family's with him. Super cool. Great guy. Sorry, I got a little checklist of everyone and everything I want to talk about. Let me make sure I do that. Yeah, I got to another like legend that I got to talk to was Nick Sloviak. He stopped by. I had a big painting of him up, and got to just chat with him and like extended my appreciation, my newfound appreciation for him and other people. Like, it's hard leaving your family for that long, and I know he's got kids at home just like me, and a lot of folks had kids at home that you got to work, and that's not the type of work that I'm used to, of leaving home. And so I really grew in appreciation for that. But great conversation with him. Nikki Cuba was making Cuban sandwiches, so Cuba's Cubans. But I was literally right next to his sandwich booth, so I'm smelling these delicious sandwiches all day. But got to chat with him a little bit. I think kind of the highlight of the booth was the joust. So Oliver was putting on a joust. If you haven't watched any of the Elite 1v1 stuff, he has this 1v1 tournament, and one style is a joust, and it's incredible. He, create, like, people would just sign up and be on teams, and one of the generals was Nikki Cuba or Leds from Planet Eclipse, or Zuba was a general, and I can't remember who else. But several like great players. I want to say Billy Wing was in there somewhere. I don't know, but great generals that kind of helped guide the team and coach the team, and it had sideline coaching. So the booth was just like filled with people cheering, making bets, and like just having a good time, counter coaching, which was kind of funny in a 1v1. But man, it was great. I saw Nikki Cuba. He got called out to do a 1v1, to play it himself, and he played Zupa, and it was pretty sick to see him just grab a gun and Cyclops Zupa in the 1-for-1. That was another highlight. I mean, just all these highlights from this event. Again, I got to work alongside great people like Nikki and Miko and Kevin and Oliver. There was a fun time. Like, people were super supportive too. I'd sold out of prints at some point. Thankfully, I had some reserves and went and was like behind the booth, like painting them and getting them, like preparing some more for the next day. And Oliver's walked by and was like, "I want to make one." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, go for it. So I'll put a video in here, but
A little different style than yours, but you know.
you know, Oliver Lang was collaborating on artwork with me. That's pretty crazy. And then, you know, I met another guy, some people may not know, but you know, again, it's part of this experience is getting to meet new people. I met a guy named Justin who was pit crew for Dynasty, and just solid dude, great conversations, really cool to get to know him. So gosh, I don't know, I want to make sure I like point out everyone that I got to meet. I talked about Kendrick and Austin, Justin, Brandon, Nikki. All right, and another huge part of the whole trip was staying at the media house. I was lucky enough to be invited to stay there. I got to hang out with a lot of great photographers, videographers, and just paintball industry people. And they welcomed me in with open arms. I loved it. Huge shout out to Sam from All In Media, Spencer from NFP, No Film Photography, not photography, No Film Productions, sorry, and Bryce Diaz from Bryce Diaz. He doesn't have a fancy name that I know of, but I know he does a lot of great work. And yeah, who else? Matt Dunn from Soulless, Rob from Kinetic, Chelsea from Performance Edge. Lots of great folks that let me be a part of the fun media house. It was super cool. Yeah, shout out to those guys. And then, yeah, shout out to Jimmy Hickey from Seattle Uprising. He commissioned a watercolor painting that, you know, turned out great, and I got some cool pictures of it on the pro field, and you know, it went so well. That event, he went and got prints made, and they gave him out for a team signing at that event. It was super cool, and so huge shout out to Jimmy. He's doing a lot for the culture, and a great person for paintball. So him, Jimmy Hickey with Finlay hats and Seattle Uprising, obviously. But yeah, it's a super great event. Again, a huge shout out to Sunshine, just you know, like letting the world see her work. I hope all of y'all got to see her stuff. It's super, super cool. She does these bas relief sculptures of different players, and you know, she sold some, and it was really cool to see people's response to that. And yeah, Nigel D'Souza from 88 Images, just 88. He made the 10 Seconds book that I picked up. Super cool book, guys, and he's doing great work. I'm actually going to collaborate with him pretty soon on his next book. That's right, another book. This dude just doesn't stop working. He does all sorts of great stuff. I think that's it. I do want to do one more, not shout out, but just like huge appreciation to the whole Hormesis crew. Alex, Ollie, Kevin, Miko, like you guys welcomed me in and made space for us, and really gave us a platform to show the paintball world that, you know, there are artists out there committed to this, and we could not have done that without y'all's generosity, and I'm so, so grateful for that. So anyone listening, you got to check out Hormesis if you haven't. You got to check out Great American Paintball if you haven't. Like, go support them, because they truly invest in the sport. They do this with a lot of things. They're all about literally growing the sport, and it's evident they do that. So Alex Frazee, Oliver Lang, these guys really focus on the culture and the health of the sport, not just like the buck. You know, they have great products, and more so, like, they've got great love for the community, and they've built a culture that is one giant family. And yeah, go buy Hormesis stuff. Yeah, it was really cool to just be around other creative people in an industry that I'm creative in, and really really supportive industry also. Like everyone was super supportive. Um, I think some of the better moments, getting to see everyone, especially when people would see like Sunshine's artwork, getting to see their response and like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And like I can't tell you how many people walked through the booth and were just like, I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm so glad you're doing this to both Sunshine and me. And it was super validating in that, like, hey, this is what it's supposed to be. I got to shout out Kyle, who, he purchased the portrait of Nick for me to give to him. So he paid me to give a painting I already made to Nick. Super cool. Nick Sloviak, that is. But I mean, like, super cool. I had a painting of Tim Montresor up, Saint Tim. I had it up all weekend, and it was so cool to hear people walk by. And sometimes it was people telling stories like, oh, Tim, and you see that this little like glimmer in their eye of this like memory that they're going through, or they'd tell their buddy about their memory. And one kid had just bought a Tim Montresor Lux, and I saw he took a picture next to it, and that was cool. And people would walk by and be like, who's that? And someone would let him know and tell them all about Tim. I got to talk with like Ryan Moorhead, have a great conversation with him about Tim, and yeah, just got to meet a lot of these people that I make artwork about and like or for, and got to like just kind of like share that with them. That was super cool. And I think that there were a few moments that were really really special for me. I made a painting for Gap, Great American Paintball. I made one of Alex Porman, who sadly passed. He's Ed Porman's son. And I just sort of had these paintings, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? I don't want to hang it up in my house, and I don't have a huge connection to him, just sort of through Ed. And so, I'm actually like packing up my booth, and I look up and I'm like, that looks like Ed. Is that Ed Porman? So I ask someone, I'm like, hey, is that Ed Porman over there? And of course it was. And so I go and just tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey man, when you get a chance, I've got something for you. Just come over and I'll give that to you. And so it's kind of a weird thing to hear from a stranger, I guess, but he was real cool about it. He walked over and I'm like, hey, I tell him what I have, and I present him with the artwork. And just, I caught him off guard, which is kind of, I don't know if that's fair, but like he was very, very appreciative. And, I gave him a hug. Like, I didn't know, I could tell he was like emotional and excited. I don't know about excited, but just having feelings about it. It's, I can only imagine how hard that would be. And I kind of caught him when he was like by himself. And so I felt like, man, I don't know, from one dad to another, like, just love you, man, give him a hug, and gave him the painting, obviously, and it was super cool, really great way to meet him, and just show my appreciation. Those of you that don't know, like, Ed Porman's responsible for a lot in the sport, like Avalanche and Warped Sports, like, dude's iconic. Like, he's if he's not in there already, I think he is, but if he's not, he's definitely should be in the Hall of Icons. And then I had one more painting to give away, and it was of Tim. And the whole time I was like, I could sell it. A lot of people made offers, and it just was like, I don't know, guys, it's got to go to the right place. It's got to be, a field or a pro shop or someone who knew him. And it's got to be something that they where other people will run into it, And so the event's over, Damage won, and thankfully I was able to get Jason Edwards, and was like, hey man, same thing I did to Ed, and I was like, hey man, when you get a chance, come by the booth. I've got something for you. And so again, stranger telling you that is kind of a weird thing, but he came by, and I was like, hey, I made this a while back after Tim passed, and I just wanted to go to the right place, and I know that you guys will appreciate it, even if it's just in your house. But I know y'all have Legacy Paintball Park and a pro shop and ours somewhere. If you wanted to do that, that'd be great. Told him about all the stories I heard and everything, and he's super like. I just caught him off guard with a kind of a big thing, and I could tell he was like. He was super grateful. He told me like he appreciated it, but I as I was walking away, I could see him just sort of having a moment with the painting, which is everything an artist wants, is someone to just build a experience with their artwork. So yeah, that was it. That was the last day. Like after everything was over, I was packing up and just sort of handed him that painting and took off. Oh, well, it's not it. That was the end of the tournament. And then that night, the whole media house went out and had dinner and told stories of how we could improve paintball, how it should be, and what was great, and just a good time. Like, really great way to end the event. And then woke up the next day and drove straight home, and here I am. It's my World Cup recap. I strongly encourage everyone to make it a priority. Go to a World Cup, see what it's all about. If you can, take your family, because I think that's the only way this would have been better. Overall, it was an amazing event. Met so many great people, and yeah, felt the support of the community, and have so many ideas for what to do in the future. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great year. This will be the last podcast for the season or whatever for the year. So happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you again, everyone, for everything you do. Love you guys, and yeah, this is the joy of paintball. And I think I just shared kind of what this is all about, the joy that comes from paintball. All right, I'll shut up. Love you guys. Bye.